Welcome, listeners, to another My Mind MashUps deep dive. And today, we've actually got a listener request, which we're really excited to tackle. So yeah, buckle up, let's dive in together. Let me just start with this question for you. Are you really truly steering your own ship through life, making conscious choices? Or are you sometimes just, running a program, maybe one written by society, by habit? Because today we're exploring a really fascinating book, The Stellar Man by John Baines. And this book, it's more than just interesting ideas, it's a genuine challenge to how we see human existence. So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack this fundamental distinction the author makes.
Right, between what he calls the mechanical man.
And the stellar man.
Exactly. Our mission, like always, is to pull out the core insights from these sources to help you understand what it really means to be, awake. To be in control. And hey, while you're here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy content that makes you think. It really helps us out. Okay, let's get into it. To start, maybe ground us a little.
Yeah.
Who is the mind behind The Stellar Man? Who is John Baines, or another Dario Salas Sommer?
Right, so John Baines is actually the pen name for Dario Salas Sommer. He's a Chilean philosopher born in Santiago back in 1935. He holds a master's in philosophy, and interestingly, his grandfather was quite famous in Chile, Dario Salas Diaz, a well-known educator.
Ah, okay, so there's a background there, an intellectual lineage, you could say.
Definitely, a strong connection to education, to rigorous thought.
So where does this work, The Stellar Man, fit in? Historically, philosophically? Well, Salas Sommer founded the Institute for Hermetic Philosophy, the IHP, in Santiago, Chile. That was back in 1970. And the IHP isn't just about, discussing ideas. It's dedicated to cultivating higher consciousness through very practical exercise, a step-by-step curriculum.
Practical exercises, interesting.
Yes, the aim is really to build a worldwide community living at a higher level of awareness. And remarkably, Salas Sommer still directs the Institute today.
Wow, still active after all this time. So it's a living philosophy then with a community.
Exactly. It's not just theory locked away in a book.
And he's written other works too, under the Baines name.
Yes. Besides The Stellar Man, there's The Secret Science, Hypsoconsciousness, and The Science of Love, all under the John Baines pseudonym. And his work has gained some recognition internationally. For instance, the Russian Academy of Arts and Sciences named him an honorary scientific consul for Latin America.
Oh, okay.
And he was also recognized as a Knight of Sciences and Arts by the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences. So his influence is definitely felt.
And here's something really interesting. His work is positioned within the Hermetic and Gnostic traditions, right? These ancient ways of thinking.
Yes, absolutely. That's a key context. The Stellar Man draws heavily from those ancient roots.
But it doesn't feel ancient when you read it, does it?
No, and that's the strength. He presents these profound, sometimes complex, Hermetic and Gnostic concepts in modern, accessible language. Came out in the mid to late 20th century, a time when self-help and explorations of consciousness, sometimes called occultism back then.
Meaning hidden knowledge, not just spooky stuff.
Precisely. Those fields started merging, making these deep ideas available to a much wider audience who were looking for something more.
Right, looking beyond the mainstream, maybe. Okay, let's get to the core of it. This distinction he makes, the mechanical man, what does that actually mean?
So the mechanical man represents the ordinary person, as Baines puts it, the way most people operate day to day. He describes this state as fragmented, reactive, largely unconscious, basically running on a preset program, like being on autopilot.
Autopilot. That immediately makes me think of Gurdjieff and Ouspensky, their idea of the sleeping man. Is it similar?
Very similar, yes. There's a strong resonance there. The mechanical man, like the sleeping man, is ruled by emotions, habits, external forces, rather than conscious choice. It operates based on conditioning, societal pressures, ingrained patterns.
Without even realizing it. Often.
Yeah, exactly. And it raises that fundamental question. If you're not aware of the program you're running, are you actually free? Are those your decisions?
It's a really powerful analogy. I think, honestly, most of us can relate to that feeling sometimes, just going through the motions, reacting instead of acting.
You all have those moments, absolutely. That sense of being pulled along by currents we didn't choose.
So if that's the problem, being stuck on autopilot, being mechanical, how do we break free? What's the path Baines suggests?
Well, the path starts with self-observation, really rigorous self-observation, and inner discipline. It requires consciously stepping back, detaching from what Baines calls the illusions of society.
Illusions like?
Things like the constant chase for money just for its own sake, or the obsession with status, social validation. even deeply ingrained cultural beliefs that we just accept without questioning.
Things we take for granted as normal.
Exactly. It's about seeing those influences for what they are, external programs, and starting to detach your sense of self from them, looking inward instead of outward for direction.
That sounds, well, it sounds familiar in some ways. Echoes of other traditions, like mindfulness or meditation from Eastern practices.
There are definite parallels, yes. The emphasis on observing thoughts and emotions without identifying with them, creating that inner space that's very similar to mindfulness. But Baines frames it within the Western Hermetic tradition, using its specific principles and terminology. The practical goal, though, is quite direct. Stop being, quote, food for external forces.
Food for external forces, meaning stop letting outside influences dictate your inner state.
Precisely. Stop being passively consumed by trends, advertising, social pressure, emotional manipulation. Instead, learn to direct your own energy, your own attention, consciously.
So it's about reclaiming that internal compass, really taking the controls of your own mind and energy.
That's a great way to put it, taking the controls.
Okay, so once you start doing that, observing, developing inner discipline, what happens next? Baines talks about hidden potential, right? Dormant faculties?
Yes, he does. He posits that humans have these latent capabilities, mental, energetic, even spiritual, that are just dormant in the mechanical state. Now, these are often symbolized in older texts as magical powers, but we need to understand what that really means here.
Right, not necessarily literal spells and potions.
Exactly. It's more about a vastly heightened state of consciousness, a more developed intuition maybe, a stronger ability to focus, to perceive things more deeply.
Like developing senses we don't normally use, or use poorly.
Sort of, yes. Or using familiar senses with much greater clarity and depth. Think enhanced focus, maybe greater empathy, a clearer perception of underlying patterns in life. Things that might seem almost magical compared to the usual fragmented awareness.
Okay, that's where it gets really interesting. So it's about accessing a deeper level of awareness, not necessarily supernatural powers in the comic book sense.
Precisely. It's about the power that comes from profound self-awareness and alignment.
Alignment with what?
With universal laws. Baines operates within that Hermetic framework, encapsulated by the principle as above, so below. The idea is that the patterns of the cosmos are reflected within us. By living consciously, by doing that inner work, you align yourself with these deeper principles.
And what does that alignment do?
It allows you to influence your own destiny. You move from being passively subjected to circumstances to becoming an active co-creator of your reality. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're participating in its unfolding with intention.
Moving from being pushed around by fate to having a hand on the tiller.
A very active hand, yes.
So if someone follows this demanding path, self-observation, discipline, awakening these faculties, what's the end goal? What is the stellar man?
The stellar man is the archetype of the fully awakened human. The result of this transformative process. This individual is described as having inner unity no longer fragmented. They possess genuine freedom from external conditioning, from those societal programs, and crucially, they have a profound sense of cosmic purpose. It goes beyond just self-improvement, like being more productive or less stressed.
It's more fundamental.
Much more. It's true self-transcendence, moving beyond the limitations of the ordinary mechanical self.
And the word stellar itself, does that imply a connection to the cosmos, the stars? Beyond just meaning excellent.
Yes, very much so. The stellar aspect points to transcending the purely earthbound material focus of the mechanical man. It's about integrating the physical existence with a higher state of being, connecting with that broader cosmic consciousness, moving beyond just terrestrial concerns.
A shift in perspective from the mundane to the, well, the universal.
Exactly, aligning with that higher, more integrated self that sees beyond the immediate material world.
Now, this journey sounds intense. Profound, yes, but also incredibly demanding. Is this like a weekend workshop thing, or are we talking lifetime's work?
Oh, definitely not a weekend workshop. Baines compares the process to the initiations in the ancient mystery schools. Those were known for requiring years, sometimes decades, of rigorous discipline, unwavering willpower, constant self-overcoming.
So breaking free from lifelong habits and unconscious patterns takes serious, sustained effort.
Immense effort. It's a marathon, requiring continuous refinement of consciousness, like mastering a very complex skill, but the skill is mastering yourself.
What's really fascinating here, though, is that it doesn't sound like it's about joining some secret club or finding a guru to give you the answers.
No, and that's a crucial point Baines makes. The true initiation is inner. It's a personal journey.
Yeah.
While guidance or a supportive community like his institute can help, the core transformation happens within the individual. It's not dependent on external institutions or dogmas.
The real work is internal.
Entirely. The goal is liberation of your own spirit, achieving mastery over your own destiny, becoming the architect of your inner world.
Okay, let's bring this into today. Our world is saturated with technology, algorithms, social media, constantly vying for our attention. Does this mechanical versus stellar man concept become even more relevant now in this digital age?
I would argue absolutely yes, perhaps more relevant than ever before. Think about it. We're constantly bombarded by stimuli designed to capture our attention, shape our desires, keep us scrolling, keep us reacting. Social media feeds, algorithmic recommendations.
Pervasive societal programming, just delivered digitally now.
Exactly. So the book forces us to ask, are we really freer now? Or are we potentially more mechanical, more programmed, just in new ways?
That's a sobering thought. And just a reminder to our listeners, if this is resonating with you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future deep dives.
Because engaging in this kind of self-observation, this inner work Baines describes, it almost becomes an act of rebellion today. A rebellion against systems that perhaps unintentionally, or maybe sometimes intentionally, can keep us asleep, focused on the surface level, distracted.
Waking up to those influences and choosing consciousness instead.
Yes, choosing to direct your own attention, your own energy.
You know, this connects to so many current debates too, doesn't it? Things like, well, transhumanism, questioning what human even means.
Right. And simulation theory, what's the nature of reality?
And the rise of AI. If machines become more sophisticated, what distinguishes us if we continue to live like machines ourselves, just running programs?
It brings that question, what defines authentic human consciousness?
Yeah.
Right to the forefront.
Now, like any philosophy that pushes boundaries, there must be criticisms, right? What are some counterpoints or critiques leveled against the stellar man?
There are definitely criticisms. One common one is that the ideas can come across as elitist.
Elitist how?
Suggesting that only a select few, maybe those with a certain predisposition, or maybe even the luxury of time and resources, can truly achieve this stellar state, that it's not accessible to everyone. Others might dismiss it as, occultism or pseudopsychology because it deals with concepts like dormant faculties or universal laws that aren't easily measured by conventional science.
Right, lacking that empirical validation some people look for. Too esoteric, maybe.
For some, yes. The language and the concepts can feel too mystical or abstract if you're strictly grounded in a materialist worldview.
So it's not universally embraced. But for those who do connect with it, despite maybe the esoteric language or the demanding nature of the path, what do they find?
For many readers, it's deeply transformative. Even if they don't agree with every single concept, or perhaps because it challenges them, they often describe it as a personal map for awakening. It provides a structure, a framework for understanding that inner journey towards greater consciousness and self-mastery.
So it gives them tools and a language for something they might already feel or aspire to.
Exactly. Many report feeling like they're finally taking the reins of their lives, moving from reaction to conscious action, and discovering potential within themselves they hadn't recognized before. It resonates on a deep, personal level for those seeking that kind of inner transformation.
So, turning it back to you, the listener, what does this all mean? If you were to look honestly at your life right now, where do you fall on that spectrum? More mechanical, driven by habit and external forces? Or are you consciously moving towards becoming stellar?
And remember, this deep dive, like all our discussions here, isn't about giving you final answers. It's about sparking your own curiosity. It's about challenging assumptions, maybe ones you didn't even know you had, and expanding your understanding of yourself and the world, bridging ancient wisdom with the questions we face today.
Yeah, the journey Baines outlines in The Stellar Man is definitely profound. It's an invitation. Awaken. Really observe the forces shaping you. And then transform. It asks you to really consider who's directing your energy. Is it you? Or is it the countless subtle influences around you? So here's a final thought to mull over. Consider just one subtle way society might be programming you right now. Just one. And what's one tiny step you could take, maybe even today, just to observe that influence without immediately reacting? What does true freedom really mean to you? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Drop them in the comments below. Your perspective could genuinely shape where we go in our next deep dive. And please like, comment, and subscribe to hear more My Mind Mashups deep dives. You can find My Mind Mashups everywhere you listen. That's Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook, Pocket Casts, Spotify, and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey today. We really look forward to the next deep dive with you.